Hi, Shalom Chaverim. Today I want to talk to you about a topic which is, it's an odd topic, but it's something which comes up constantly. Very often we throw out the word, oh, that guy's just simply crazy. Or, you gotta be kidding, that's insane. And I'd like to talk about it not from a clinical perspective, but even from a common sense perspective. How do you define insanity? And what makes a person crazy? One wise person once remarked that insanity is, the definition of insanity is being in the minority of one. For example, imagine yourself in a movie theater. It's dark, everyone is focused on the movie, and someone shouts, "Put out the flashlight, will you?" And everyone's looking, what? And he shouts again, "Put out that flashlight, I tell you, you're disturbing me." And everyone looks at one another, and the usher comes over and says, "Sir, there is no flashlight on, and please sit down and compose yourself." And he shouts the third time, "Put out the flashlight." And everyone agrees he is crazy. He is to be escorted out. What would be, though, if, again, there might be 400 people in the theater, but it's not one person that does it, but two. They're sitting next to one another, they both get up, and they shout, "Put out the flashlight." Same scenario. Again, most people would say, I didn't see any flashlight. The usher didn't see any flashlight. Maybe they're in cahoots, they're crazy. But if you have them sitting in two different sides of the theater, and simultaneously they both get up and say, "Will you be more considerate and close that flashlight?" And then there's a third person in the back that shouts, "I saw the flashlight too." Suddenly it becomes an issue. We're looking for the flashlight, and none of them are crazy. Or are they? It seems just because someone else is crazy, that made the first one less crazy. And then when a third person is crazy, well, after all, if 3 people have seen it, obviously it's true, even though 397 other people have not seen the flashlight. They immediately say, maybe we just didn't see it. Maybe they saw something we did not. Play the scene in your mind. You're walking outside, right? And you're passing, it's a crowded street, and you see suddenly someone stops and shouts and points to the roof, "Don't jump, don't jump." You take a quick glance up, you don't see anything, and you figure this guy's, again, meshuggah, crazy, eccentric. But if suddenly 2 people shout that, and then perhaps a third person, a crowd gathers. Who's jumping? He's up there. I don't see him. But it can't be that 3 people would just shout it. So isn't that odd? Contrary to the evidence to your eyes, if someone were to shout, "Put out the flashlight, don't jump from the roof," you would say, "This is crazy. It's not, there's nothing there." But just because more than one person said it, that makes it normal? I read an audiobook, or heard from an audiobook, a very fascinating true story. It happened in England a couple of years ago. There was a man that committed a violent crime, and his lawyer told him that it's going to be very hard to get him off. He's going to have to do some serious time in prison. And this guy thought of a plan. Why go to prison when he could go to a crazy house? So essentially, he began when he said to his lawyer, he'll make a confession, and his response to the police individuals that were questioning him, he made it sound very extreme. He explained why he enjoys doing these crimes and how he gets off on doing these crimes, and it excites him doing crimes. And he really was graphic and grotesque. And of course, they're writing down, this man is absolutely not normal. Sending him to prison won't be rehabilitative. He needs therapy. So they send him to a court psychiatrist. This offender is no dummy. He understands that he has to be convincing. So he repeats it and he adds a little bit more. And of course, when this happens, they submit to the court that he should be put into a psychiatric ward. And he beat the system, or so he thought. He found himself in a place called Broadmoor in England, and after 2-3 months decided that prison is far better than being in, italics, a crazy house. He was with people that basically were out of touch with reality. There was no one to talk to. There was some seriously ill, mentally ill people, people that had truly committed terrible crimes. And he realized that if he stays here any longer, he will actually go off his rocker. So he asked for another diagnosis, and this time he answered like a human being. Yes, I was a crime of passion. I was angry. No, whatever I said before is a lie. I did not mean it. I just tried to beat the system, but I'm ready to, take my punishment. Just get me out of here. What do you think the psychiatrist said? He put down, man's really crazy. He's acting normal when he's really crazy. So he realized that he has to do things to convince the staff. So most of the people in Broadmoor basically did not take care much of their physical health or the way they looked. They walked around with these oversized shirts. Many of them became overweight. There's nothing to do. He began working out. He began wearing a suit to the cafeteria, a suit walking down the corridors. Were he to have been outside, he would have been well-dressed and dignified. When the staff interviewed him, they said he's crazy. Look, he's dressed in a suit when everyone else is wearing a turtleneck. Of course, he was really adamant trying to get out, so he was very careful to speak cultured. And there were certain people that he wouldn't even hobnob with because they were really crazy. What did the staff say? He's a Menlo Maniac. And I found it fascinating. All of the signs of normalcy outside of an asylum, those very same signs make you insane if you're in this type of a mental health facility. Whereas if the people from the mental health facility would be wearing what they wear when they go out to eat in a restaurant or to go to work dressed, they would be considered outlandish at best and perhaps crazy. Isn't this a topsy-turvy world? Normal in one setting, abnormal in another setting. If you're the only one doing it, that means you're crazy. Why do I bring this up? I find it intriguing in general, but in particular, I find it an issue for Jewish people. We have such a beautiful way of life. The Torah's definition of what's right and what's wrong. We have a system, we have a rhythm. There are 6 days of work. There's a 7th day of Shabbat. There's a specific diet, a kosher diet. We believe in a family life. We believe in study. We respect our elders. And then we find ourselves in 2012 in a society where some of these values are not considered values at all. They're considered archaic, they're considered backward, they're considered the opposite of progressive. So when the person says to his boss, no, I won't take the promotion because I want to spend more time with my family, the boss looks at him like he's crazy. Do you know how many people are waiting in line to get this position? When someone says to his neighbor, no, I'm actually not interested in the latest movie or restaurant or opera, I would like to spend more time studying. Guy looks at him with oogle eyes. What? And so on and so forth. The Torah prescribes a way of life. And if you feel lonely and you feel alone doing it, you sometimes say, am I really crazy? All people are dressed immodestly and I'm the only one who's dressed modestly and it's 83 degrees outside? Hat and jacket, long skirt? Well, am I nuts? So here I want to share with you something. You're not alone. Judaism is a dynamic relationship, not only between the here and now with God, but it's actually the past as well. When I do a mitzvah, it's not only me doing the mitzvah now, it's actually all of the generations that preceded me that prepared me for this mitzvah. Or to put it in different words, when I light that Shabbos candle, I'm actually being linked not only to God, but to all of the people that stood by Sinai, and perhaps even earlier, all the way back to Sarah, the first one who lit the candles. When I study Torah, I'm not only now, this moment, Monday evening, I study Torah. I'm actually being connected to the millions of Jews throughout generations that Monday night study Torah. Which brings us back to Mount Sinai itself, when we all heard the word of the living God. So my friends, you're not crazy, and I'm not crazy. You know why? We're not alone. We're in the majority. We're walking the path of the King. It's a godly path, and a holy path, and a beautiful path. Let's hope and pray that we follow this path and continue on this path, and indeed this path will lead us back to the holy city of Jerusalem with the righteous coming of Mashiach, and then indeed the entire world will become sane. Amen.